The Kansas City Chiefs were back on the practice field for day 8 of training camp in St. Joseph, Missouri, and there is one great big headline that should come as a relief to all Kansas City Chiefs fans because things had started to get a little bit weird around the practice field. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel. So let's get into it. We get this off of Twitter/X from Matt McMullen. Joe Thuney has been activated to the Chiefs roster from PUP and is on the field at camp today. From Adam Teicher, the Chiefs wasted no time with Thuney. He's in his usual spot as the starting left guard. Pete Sweeney, correction, looks like Joe Thuney is cleared for installs, but it's rookie Hunter Nourzad working the left guard during team, and Matt Derrick provides this. No Joe Thuney in a team period for the first time, or for the first team versus number 2 defense. Mike Caliendo and Hunter Nourzad rotating in. Suamataia and Morris rotating at left tackle. So the obvious big thing to talk about here is the fact that Joe Thuney is back in football practices. He's not pushing a sled. He's not standing on the sideline juggling footballs like the tight ends have, for some reason, become fans of doing. None of those things. He is taking part in football activities. It was a little confusing because, well, we had heard after the injury that Joe Thuney might be ready for the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, that much was a smokescreen. That much was to throw off the 49ers, even though they're not supposed to do that. Of course, they did that. But the big worry was the fact that when you start looking at grades of pectoral strain, anything past like a couple months, and it looks like it was a really serious thing, and the Super Bowl was more than a couple months ago. So it was, I think, reasonable to start to worry that Joe Thuney was not, in fact, going to be ready for the opening game of the season, but it looks now like he is likely to be back on the field. Still, obviously, there is some ways to go here, but I think that it is a good sign that he is back to doing football activities and not just pushing a sled. Now, one thing that we have also talked about on this channel is this. Hunter Nourzad working at left guard during team. Hunter Nourzad working in with the ones. I believe that was said somewhere. Caliendo and Nourzad rotating in. I'm assuming that is with the first team, as the first team is designated up there. So we have Hunter Nourzad mobile. Hunter Nourzad is moving around different positions, center and guard now. He is moving up between third and second team at the beginning, now second and first team. Obviously, he is not going to start over Joe Thuney. Here's the thing that is going to be very, very interesting and very good to see here. And I'll mention the left tackles in a moment, but getting Hunter Nourzad even mentioned here, getting Hunter Nourzad and Joe Thuney mentioned here is a very big deal. Now, I've talked on this channel for years now. Unfortunately, I had to go back and delete all those videos to become YouTube compliant. But I have talked on the channel for years now about the fact that Andy Reid hates rotating offensive linemen. He's never said as much, but he just does not do that. The reason that I brought this up, it must have been 2019 when I started this channel. I brought this up back then, and here, Joe Thuney, last season for the Kansas City Chiefs, played 1,097 snaps. In 2020 for the Chiefs, 999 snaps. In 2021 for the Chiefs, 1,185 snaps. 98% in 2021, 99% in 21, 98% in 22, 97% in 2023. At the time, when I had first started mentioning this, one of the things that was starting to happen to the Kansas City Chiefs is roster rot. If you've been around the channel for a long time, you remember me using that term all the time back then. The Kansas City Chiefs had been good for a while, right? The Kansas City Chiefs had given Alex Smith a pretty good-sized contract. The Kansas City Chiefs had a few players that were making some money. That core of the team, the guys who weren't rookies but weren't starters, the guys who were second string, etc., weren't good. Now, John Dorsey drafted some absolute bangers for the Kansas City Chiefs. Ultimately, he has to get the hat tip on drafting Patrick Mahomes, even though we've heard the stories up and down about how Brett Veach had identified Mahomes. He drafted Travis Kelce. He drafted Chris Jones. He drafted a few players, Tyreek Hill, that were really, really good. John Dorsey had problems in the later rounds. John Dorsey was not able to identify. So Brett Veach had a seventh round that included Jalen Watson, who has started at cornerback for the Kansas City Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco, who has been a multi-year starter at running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, and Najee Johnson, who looks to be primed to be a starting cornerback for the Kansas City Chiefs on a Super Bowl team. What a banger single seventh round for the Kansas City Chiefs. And you guys know the numbers. Trey Smith is a sixth rounder. Joshua Williams, who might be a starter, is a fifth rounder. All of these different players coming in these later rounds are absolutely vital. One of the things that started popping up and ended with the alleged Super Bowl versus the Buccaneers that I'm not sure ever actually happened. I have no memory of this. People say the Chiefs lost to the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I think it's rumor. I think it's myth. However, one of the headlines that I remember seeing from that mythical Super Bowl is that the offensive line was completely in shambles. The offensive line had never been restored from that period of roster rot. They just didn't have enough guys who were NFL players. Ever since then, the Kansas City Chiefs still haven't rotated offensive linemen. If the Chiefs can get themselves in position where every third series of the game, you're going to be out the first three plays. We'll send Hunter Nourzad in. We'll send either Suamataia or Morris, whoever does not happen to be the starting left tackle. We'll send him in. We'll take Jawan Taylor out every fourth series so that the swing tackle gets one there. We'll take Creed Humphrey out every third. Give every fourth. Give Hunter Nourzad a series at center. Get these guys off the field, because what we've looked at several times on the channel as well. In the past 7 seasons, I think it is, Travis Kelce has played 8 seasons of football. 7 seasons of time, 8 seasons of football. Why? Because the Kansas City Chiefs play so many postseason games. What's going to happen is you run through offensive linemen. Those guys have difficulty because they're 300-pound men, 330-pound men, ramming into each other 50, 60 times a game. Building this quality depth should allow the Kansas City Chiefs at least the option to rotate. Now, we see there the mention once again of Suamataia and Wanya Morris. Apparently, Suamataia did come out and start again, but they were rotating with Wanya Morris, I guess, in an even supply of snaps between the two offensive tackles. It does seem that Kingsley has the lead at the position. But it would seem that way as well if the Kansas City Chiefs were trying to give Kingsley a fair shake. They have seen, after all, 4 games of Wanya Morris starting in the NFL. Of course, Wanya Morris is going to have the playbook down better. Of course, Wanya Morris is going to have a little bit better technique. He's been in the NFL for an entire season now. Of course, there are certain things Wanya Morris is going to be better at. If you want a fair shake at the position to see who is going to be the better left tackle, it makes sense to allow Suamataia a few extra reps and a few extra reps with the ones in order that you see what is really going on there with the athlete and with the student of the game. So I think there are some interesting things going on at that left tackle position as well. I don't know if I'm ready to call it, guys. I really don't know. I'm a big fan of Wanya Morris. I really am. I want to see him get a chance at right tackle. You cannot convince me. It's not going to happen. But we'll just have to see, I guess. At the wide receiver position, we have from Lyle Graverson, a tweet that went semi-viral. Sky Moore just threw an interception on a kick return. No, that's not a typo. Of course, in true ironic fashion, there is a typo. He just threw an interception. However, the interesting thing here is Sky Moore can't catch a break, Sky Moore can't catch a pass, and Sky Moore can't complete one either. This appears to have been a wild attempt at a lateral that just went wrong for Sky Moore. There is a positive note for Sky Moore. There's a positive note for Sky Moore later, but not a whole lot for Sky Moore lately. Not a whole lot of positive notes. Ari Myrov, the Chiefs are just having fun at this point. There was a video of this, but I couldn't transpose the video into the Word document. This is a Mahomes to Kadarius Toney, back to Mahomes, back to Toney, and then Toney going deep to Xavier Worthy. Now, this is a quadruple lateral and a downfield shot. That's not the craziest part about this. This is a quadruple lateral and a shot downfield to a 165-pound rookie. That's not the wildest thing about this. This is a quadruple lateral pass thrown by a wide receiver down the field to a 165-pound man who runs a 4.2 140-yard dash, which is a record. That's not the wildest thing about this play. This is a quadruple lateral to a wide receiver who then throws the football down the field to a 165-pound man who runs a 4.2 140, the fastest ever in the NFL, that went for a touchdown. That's not the wildest thing about this play. The wildest thing about this play, it was your design to make Kadarius Toney catch the ball twice on a single play. That's the wildest part about this play. Kadarius Toney caught the ball twice in one snap. Everything's coming up Kansas City. From Starcade Media, who you should be following on Twitter, Sky Moore beat Trent McDuffie for a touchdown at Chiefs training camp. And it was a pretty nice play. They had a video of this as well. It was a pretty nice play. I believe it was dragging across the back. No, it was looked like it was a shallow flag route. And the ball was placed in such a place that if anyone was going to catch it, it was going to be Sky Moore. And guys, when that ball was in the air, I didn't think Sky Moore had a chance. I didn't think any of the Chiefs wide receivers would have had a chance at it, but he brought it down. Now I wanted to get into some observations from myself from the footage of Chiefs training camp and today's practice. It was a bad day for Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco had at least 2 drop passes, I believe, fumbled downfield. I believe that was after catching the ball. I don't think that was on an open field run. And he got destroyed in the backfield on a running route. Now, I don't say this to bring down Isaiah Pacheco. I think Isaiah Pacheco is top 12 back in the league. I think that's pretty fair. If you are looking for consistency, maybe top 10. If you're looking at the ceiling, probably top 15. So if you average them out, probably a top 12 back. Just any given Sunday, that's probably where I would put Isaiah Pacheco, somewhere in that top 12. He's going to have bad days, just like anybody is. This is why Jerick McKinnon played so long for the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't believe any of these were running. So he had the fumble. I mentioned the fumble. I believe that was off of a reception. None of these gaffes from Isaiah Pacheco on the day were in the running game. When you think of Jerick McKinnon, you don't think of Jerick McKinnon running the ball up the gut. No, he's not a gadget guy, but sort of. He's a running back who doesn't run the ball. He's a running back who's better at catching the ball and pass blocking than he is at running backing the ball. Isaiah Pacheco was the running back. This may, if this persists, because think about it, we have not seen terribly much Isaiah Pacheco in the passing game during his entire career for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's done a little bit. He had, let me get the stats here, 13 receptions as a rookie, 44 receptions last year. That's more than I would have thought off the top of my head, but he only had a 5.5 yard average per reception. His rookie season, 13 receptions for 130 yards. That is a 10-yard average, obviously. And last season, 44 receptions, 244 yards. Better than I would have thought, but still, he's not. Jerick McKinnon had a 9 receiving touchdown season. The receiving touchdowns were there to go around for the running backs in the Chiefs offense, and they just haven't been there for Isaiah Pacheco. This may open the door. If this persists, this may open the door for either Jerick McKinnon to come back, or there's somebody on the roster right now who we have lauded and lauded for his receiving skills out of the backfield. That's right, Deneric Prince. Deneric Prince, who at least in shorts and a helmet can catch absolutely everything. So it may be a window to having a little bit of Deneric Prince on the field. Obviously, Clyde Edwards-Helaire also has an extensive history with receiving. He was... I hate to have to defend Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde, if you told me coming out of college that Clyde Edwards-Helaire would be statistically what Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been, I would not have believed you. Did I think he was going to be a 2,000-yard rusher? No. But you look at what he did in college, and guys, that was otherworldly production, and it was otherworldly production in the SEC. So I can't be mad about the Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick. He hasn't panned out, hasn't worked out, but he does have receiving acumen, and we will see if this is, because I think this is a sign. The Clyde or that Isaiah. There's a reason why Jerick McKinnon was on the roster. Isaiah does not seem to be the biggest threat in the receiving department. I don't think he's going to have to be this season, though. That's another thing. I don't think he's going to have to be this season because I think, if anything, if the running back is on the field, I think the running backs will be utilized at a higher rate for picking up pass blocking this season because of the left tackle situation and possibly the right tackle situation, depending on how you feel about Jawan Taylor. So I think that when the tight ends are on the field, there's not going to be a whole lot of blocking out of the tight ends. They're going to be out on routes. It is going to be up to the running backs to take on any of the pass rush. Now, speaking of those tight ends, Jared Wiley, another day with several impact plays, several nice catches, at least one touchdown in the team drills. He's going to be a contributor this season. Jared Wiley, in my opinion, is going to be the backup tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the backup tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs is on the field an awful lot. If we look at Noah Gray last season, if we look at Noah Gray through the last couple seasons, he didn't play a whole lot as a rookie. Last season, Noah Gray had 592 snaps. In 2022, Noah Gray had 597 snaps. In 2021, as a rookie, 289 snaps. So that season, I believe, for most of the year, he was actually the number 3 tight end, if I'm not mistaken. Still, in his rookie season, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 36 yards, and a touchdown. In his sophomore campaign, Noah Gray produced 34 targets, 28 receptions, 299 yards, and a touchdown. Remember that stat line, 28 receptions, 299 yards, and a touchdown. Because just this last season in 2023, 41 targets, 7 more targets, 28 receptions, the exact same number of receptions, 305 yards, 6 yards additional on the same amount of receptions, but with 7 more targets, and 2 touchdowns, an additional touchdown for Noah Gray. I think that is going to be child's play compared to what Jared Wiley is able to do. Jared Wiley has tools that Noah Gray does not. I don't know of any tools Noah Gray has that Jared Wiley does not. Jared Wiley is a big guy. Noah Gray, far be it from me to say that 6'3" is short, but it is not tall by NFL tight end standards. So we have a height disparity. We have a reach disparity. I believe we have a little bit of a 40-yard dash disparity. I think that Jared Wiley is slightly faster in the 40-yard dash, although Noah Gray's short shuttle and 3-cone drills were faster. But I think that this comes down to being a football player, and as a football player, Jared Wiley is, in my opinion, going to be the backup tight end, meaning that Noah Gray, who played 280 special team snaps as a rookie, followed by 282 special team snaps, and then a dip to 219 special team snaps last season, is probably going to be a lot more of a special teams contributor in this coming season, assuming, because I think this is another option here. Look, where are we at? 299 receiving yards and 305 receiving yards. Those aren't bad numbers for a backup tight end. It's a little disappointing in the Kansas City Chiefs offense. It's a little disappointing when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. It's a little disappointing when the offense was struggling for so long last season and was looking for anyone at all, to take some burden off of the wide receiver core. It's a little bit disappointing in those circumstances. But if you were to ask me, would there be a trade market for Noah Gray? Right now, I'm not sure. I think that by the time the season is about to start, teams are going to be looking at their entire roster, and they're going to be saying, look, we just don't have enough here. We don't have enough wide receivers. We don't have enough defensive ends. We don't have enough tight ends. In that market, a guy like Noah Gray, who contributes on special teams, who's not a big guy, but he's big enough, who's decent at getting in the way of people, maybe not a powerful blocker, who is a receiving threat, who does have some after-the-catch ability. He's not, look, we might think he doesn't have a whole lot of after-the-catch ability. That's because we've been watching Travis Kelce since we were watching Tony Gonzalez, right? There was a couple years there where we were watching Tony Moeaki, but you know what I'm saying. We went from Tony Gonzalez to Travis Kelce. Been a very long time since we've had to worry about a guy being subpar at running after the catch. Noah Gray's fine for running after the catch. I think there will be a market. It's not going to be a huge market, but if Jared Wiley becomes the number 2 guy, and Irv Smith looks to me almost exactly like Noah Gray. He looks like I think that he's a little bit more explosive than Noah Gray. I think Noah Gray is probably a little bit more solid in the run blocking department, but I'm not 100% positive on either of those things. That said, if you decide Travis Kelce's your starter, Jared Wiley's your backup, Noah Gray is your third string, Irv Smith is number 4, and you could maybe squeeze a 7th round pick out of Noah Gray, you could maybe squeeze somebody's third defensive tackle that could contribute for the Kansas City Chiefs out of Noah Gray. You could squeeze, I don't know, what's Brett Veach like? Cornerbacks? You could squeeze the 19th cornerback on the Kansas City Chiefs roster out of trading Noah Gray. Maybe it makes sense. Noah Gray, this is, after all, his final season. And here, we've started seeing this a little bit more with football. This used to be a very big talking point in baseball. Is a guy's last season under contract. Wheel him and deal him. You're not doing anything with him. You're not going to the playoffs. He's not starting. Whatever the combination of factors is, it's his last season. We might as well try to get something out of him. We never really saw that in football, but we've started to see it a little bit more the last few seasons. The last talking point that I have here, Bryan Cook is going to have a Pro Bowl season. Bryan Cook is absolutely going to be voted to the Pro Bowl. It's a shame, it's a real shame, that he will not be able to participate in the Pro Bowl because, well, that's going to be during the Kansas City Chiefs bye week this season. Bryan Cook has been all over the field. And here's the thing that's been surprising to me. It's been in coverage. It hasn't been they're bringing him down on the blitz. He's good for that. It hasn't been he's stuffing somebody in the running game. Certainly he's good for that. It has been down the field breaking up passes. It has been down the field almost getting interceptions. It has been down the field getting interceptions. Bryan Cook, something has clicked. Maybe it was the time away from football while he was watching his team execute. And I really do believe that sometimes a little bit of distance helps someone with clarity on things like that. Watching, for example, Mike Edwards, who I'm not talking smack on Mike Edwards. Mike Edwards did great things for the Kansas City Chiefs last season. Mike Edwards isn't Bryan Cook. Physically, on the football field, Mike Edwards is not Bryan Cook. Bryan Cook knows that. Mike Edwards would probably admit that. Mike Edwards was absolutely killing it for the Kansas City Chiefs last year. So it may be simply taking that time back and saying, okay, I need to start believing that I can execute these assignments. Executing the assignments and realizing that your coaches aren't just suggesting things. Your coaches are trying to put you in position so that you can win Super Bowls, they get nice rings, and they get raises and maybe head coaching jobs of their own. Sometimes that's what it takes, is a little bit of time away to realize those things. And for whatever it was, Bryan Cook did it. and he is all over the place. That is all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. So hit the subscribe button, because I hope to have you back for the next one.